Our name is Ghosts Want You Dead. While we remain steadfast in our resolve to relate the grisly details of the goings-on in the greater Collinsport area, sometimes on this long and arduous journey through the past, the mind, it wanders. Hello, I'm Matthew.
And I'm Rebecca.
In a bit of a format change, let's cosplay as a true crime podcast for a few minutes, shall we?
I'm into that.
Rebecca, I'd like to tell you a little story in honor of your birthday, which is coming this Wednesday.
It is.
Let us talk about some Nepo babies of yore.
Oh, I love a story about nepotism.
I wonder if you happen to be familiar with a true crime story that has been covered on a few podcasts, as well as adapted into a major motion picture in 1990 about the possible attempted murder of Martha Sharp, otherwise known as Sonny von Bulow. Does Sonny von Bulow ring a bell to you?
It does not.
Well, I'll tell you a very condensed version. In an effort to keep it short, I must confess that Wikipedia is my primary source, but please see the episode notes for additional sources. Mrs. von Bulow was originally Miss Crawford, and she came from a wealthy family, and she inherited a large sum of money herself when she was a small child. Her father died when she was like 3, and she got millions and millions of dollars. As rich people do, she grew up and also married rich. The first time to Prince Alfred Edward Friedrich Vincenz Martin Maria Auersperg. I don't know how you say that. It's the Auersperg. I was like, is that the Habsburgs? But I was like, no, it's Auersperg.
Yeah, that's a different berg.
She and the prince did not stay together for all that long. They married in 1957 and then got divorced in 1965 after having 2 children. Not long before turning 35, Sonny remarried another dude from a noble background, this one called Klaus von Bulow. Does that ring a bell?
Klaus von Bulow kind of does.
Well, we'll see if you recognize any of this. Klaus also came from a rich family, and he trained and worked as a lawyer before being the personal assistant slash right-hand man to the famed unpleasant oil guy J. Paul Getty, who you might also recall.
Don't know who that is.
Well, he has also featured on quite a few true crime podcasts on account of the kidnapping of his grandson in 1973. Does that ring a bell?
No.
Well, rich oil man has a young grandson that gets kidnapped, and he initially won't pay the ransom because he thinks the grandson is in on it.
Okay.
And then he still won't pay the ransom even when he begins to suspect the grandson isn't in on it, because he's like, well, I've got lots of other grandchildren, and if I pay for this one, then they're just gonna kidnap all of them, so better
Yeah.
to sacrifice the one for.
I mean, it's a classic trolley problem.
Klaus worked for that dude. Well, Klaus and Sonny didn't waste a lot of time before procreating after getting married. They had a daughter about 10 months after their wedding. But by Christmas of 1979, things had gone sour and they seemed to be heading towards divorce, and Klaus was having an affair. The mistress was encouraging him to leave Sonny and go be with her. Klaus and Sonny had a vacation house in Newport, Rhode Island, 7/10 of a mile from Seaview Terrace, which
Oh,
which plays Colin Wood on Dark Shadows. They had spent Christmas of 1979 at this Newport house, but the following day, Sunny fell into a coma. After going to the hospital and getting treatment, she regained consciousness and they diagnosed her with reactive hypoglycemia.
ooh, that's gnarly.
The next spring, she had another episode and was warned by doctors that she needed to make lifestyle changes to accommodate her hypoglycemia. Fast forward to Christmas time 1980, and they were again at the Newport house right around the corner from fictional Collinwood for Christmas, and she had another episode, but this time it happened in the evening, and she wasn't discovered until the following day. So when they found her unresponsive, she was hospitalized again and ultimately found to be in a persistent vegetative state. Given the fact that the marriage had been falling apart and it was known that Klaus was philandering,
Right.
and Sonny had a personal fortune at that time of $75 million, which in today's money would be about 350 million.
Yeah, that's
Well,
pretty darn good.
if you recall the two kids that Sonny had had from her previous marriage,
Yeah.
naturally they suspected Klaus of something.
Sure, I mean,
So they took these suspicions to the legal system, and this resulted in Klaus von Bulow being convicted of the attempted murder of his wife. This trial was in progress when you were born.
okay.
Anyhow, he got convicted of basically, they said he was injecting her with insulin
Oh, wow.
and seemed to prove it enough for a conviction in the first trial. Well, on appeal, Klaus was represented by notoriously slimy Alan Dershowitz
Mhm.
of, Jeffrey Epstein, O.J. Simpson,
Yeah,
and Donald Trump fame.
garbage.
So,
Yep.
yeah, the guy that clearly innocent people go to
Right,
for
yeah, like,
defense.
absolutely help me out.
And surprise, Dershowitz got the convictions overturned
Yeah,
through some textbook victim blaming, saying that, well, she used drugs, so she probably just overdosed.
yeah.
And with interesting side note, a witness for the defense in the appeal was none other than Truman Capote,
Huh.
being like, "Oh, yeah, Sonny was a big junkie, so she probably did just overdose."
That's funny.
And I wish I could do the Ryan Murphy Show Truman Capote voice
Yeah,
because that would be funny
that
right
would be
there, but I
fun,
can't
yeah.
do it.
I'm not.
But anyway, Truman Capote testified, as did many air quotes expert witnesses.
Hmm.
But who knows how much truth there is to any of that or what really happened, what with the legal system being kind of a joke and the
Yeah,
law not really applying to the wealthy.
sure, I mean, that's the way it's been, and
So during both the initial trial and the court proceedings for the appeal, Klaus's mistress testified, and she was apparently pretty difficult to pin down to testify for the prosecution in the appeal. She was accused of hiding out in Europe to avoid testifying, and she only turned up at the last minute, potentially under threat of legal action. And after the judge warned that if she didn't turn up by this particular day, she wouldn't testify at all, and also they had warrants out for her. So testify she did, not that it made much of a difference. Her story was that in 1979, when Sonny's first coma happened, she had told Klaus that here's the ultimatum, you have to leave your wife by Christmas or you and me are through. So interesting timing, right?
sure, yeah. Oh,
Sonny would just happen to
right.
fall into a mysterious coma just in time to satisfy that ultimatum.
Right.
It came out in the appeal trial, though, that She did end the relationship in 1979,
Mhm.
but they did take up together again in 1980 for a time. But she ultimately ended things because, in her words, he was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, who amongst us hasn't accidentally taken up with a shitty dude once or twice?
Oh, girl, or how many times? 5, 6.
Right?
Girl.
Oh, silly me, did I tell you the mistress's name?
No.
It was Alexandra Isles, née Alexandra Cornelia von Moltke, otherwise known as the actress who originated the role of Victoria Winters.
What?
She was the mistress in this instance.
That's amazing. Like, the Victoria Winters, Vicky Winters
Mhm.
is the mistress that was banging this evil dude.
Yes.
Oh.
Like David Hennessy, who played David Collins, Mrs. Isles did one project after Dark Shadows and then stopped acting. She went on to a career as a documentary filmmaker, and this Wednesday will be her 81st birthday and your 50th.
What? Motherfucker. I'm
Amen.
44, I'm gonna be 44.
Oh, my mistake. You look older.
You shut your mouth. That's mean.
Anyway, not only is there a colorful scandal in Alexandra Isles, aka Victoria Winters past, the two of you share a birthday.
Aw.
I
Well,
kid about you looking old.
I
You
know.
don't.
Oh, I know. You tell me I'm
Anyway,
pretty all the time, it's fine.
happy birthday to Mrs. Isles with apologies for gossiping about you. And
Sorry about that, but wow, that was write your memoir, girl. Happy birthday. I wanna hear about it.
also happy birthday to Rebecca.
Oh, yes. Happy birthday to me and Vicky.
With apologies for all the times I'm going to call you old for the next 5 months
Yes.
until we are the same
Did we
age
talk
again.
about this last week? I
We
don't
talked
remember.
about this last week, but I cut it
Oh, okay.
because we were already running too long, and so, like, we'll just get to this later. But as we've just discussed, Rebecca was born in February and myself in September of the same year, so for the 5 months when we are the same age, she is very young, just a slip of a girl.
Yes, a wisp.
But during the 7 months when she is older than me, she is a grizzled old hag.
Yes. That is the mythology.
So, currently, she is very young until
Yes.
Wednesday when she becomes old.
Yes.
Anyway, that was my prepared chatty bit. Did you like
Fun.
it?
Yes, it was fun. That is a crazy story that I did not know,
I
and I'm
had
glad you
actually
saved it for me.
I had actually heard the story before,
Mhm.
but it was before we ever got started doing this, so I just didn't remember that that was her.
Yeah. That's wild. It's interesting that she and I share a birthday, and she looks so much like your mom, and your mom's birthday and were close together. We also just are we gonna talk about that? Did we decide not to?
I'm not
Celebrating
sure
our
what.
24th years of
We might
yeah,
as well
okay,
not.
sure.
They don't need to know all our business. Save that for the Patreon.
Right.
And I'm gonna
Love
leave this bit in as a tease. So
it.
if you want to know our personal business, then you have to pay for it.
24 years of what? $5 will let you know. I'll personally send you a video explaining.
Shall we talk about Dark Shadows?
Absolutely. Episode 101, Victoria Winters knows what you did last summer.
Roger is confirming with Carolyn that she told Vicky about Murder Pen. He goes over it repeatedly, and Carolyn is weirded out and then fucks with him about some conspiracy theories about Bill
Being
being
a
a spy
spy with
and
secret spy stuff and hypodermic needles,
is
like, it
hidden
was
in the
this
murder pen.
yeah, it was funny. She was having a little imaginative bit.
Roger doesn't like that, and
No.
he looks dramatically out the window. Opening credits.
Carolyn doesn't really care about all the murder pen business and is like, "Just I wanna talk about how I wanna have my little date with Burke, and she's excited because she's going out with him that night.
And Uncle Roger, do you think my hair looks sexy?
Do you like my little dressing gown? Yeah, it was every scene with them feels just gross and awkward.
Well, he is warning her that Burke is scary and she doesn't buy it. He asks where Vicky is, but asks too many questions, and Carolyn starts to like make a little bit of a face at him.
Yeah, like, what do
But
you wanna know?
he leaves to go hunt for Vicky, and Carolyn makes kind of a brief, intrigued face, but then dismisses it entirely and goes back to getting ready. David is down in the foyer drawing a picture, and Roger comes down, asks David if he might have eavesdropped enough to know where Vicky is, but no luck there. He doesn't know. So Roger is no longer interested in his child.
David asks if his father would like to see his sociopathic drawing of what they will do to the man who killed Bill Malloy. And he doesn't really wanna see it, but it is a dude at the gallows because David is a little spooky baby.
Yep, it is a stick figure, what has been hung. And Roger says, without much interest in the matter, that they don't hang people in Maine anymore. And David says, well, that's too bad. Then Roger leaves. After he does, in a shocking twist,
Dun, dun, dun.
David beckons Vicky out from her hiding place. And so she offers a favor in return for his hiding her. And he asks her to go to the old house to hunt for ghosts with him. And she says she will, but not tonight.
Later in Carolyn's room, Vicky gives her back her car keys, and they talk about her dress and her date with Burke coming up. And then the conversation turns to how Roger lost interest in protesting Carolyn's date with Burke and that he was very much more interested in finding Vicky and that he knows.
That he had the murder
Yeah,
pin
that
on
Vicky
murder night.
knows the murder pins, murder beach, like all of that. So Vicky gets panicky and asks where he is and where Liz is, and is kind of like, "Who the fuck is in the house?" And like, "Am I gonna be alone with your creepy uncle who's maybe gonna murder me with murder pen?"
And she
And
is, because
yeah,
Liz has gone with Mrs. Johnson down to creepy old Matthews.
yep,
And so Vicky says she's going to go look for David, and Carolyn's like, "Okay, cool, but if you find him, will you beat him over the head with a crowbar?"
yeah. She hates her little cousin.
Well, she's got good reason to.
Eh, I don't know.
At the Blue Whale, Roger creeps in
I
on the
find
Vicky hunt.
I find David more relatable than I do Carolyn, like, most of the time. Carolyn is a mess. I mean, not that I'm not a mess, but anyway, go ahead, carry on.
At the Blue Whale, Roger creeps in on the hunt for Vicky, and he calls Sam from there, asking if Vicky is at his house, but she's not. Back at Collinwood, Vicky comes into the drawing room and closes the doors so that she can call Burke. But he isn't at the hotel, so she asks them to check the restaurant, but he's also not there. So she starts to run upstairs to hide, but a knock at the door interrupts her, and it's Maggie.
She's happy to see her, and Maggie's wondering why she was upset in the coffee shop.
And also, she had left her purse.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
yeah, I forgot
Maggie has
about
brought
that
it back.
reasoning. I forgot the whole purse thing.
She had left her purse, and Maggie is returning it. But not for free. Maggie demands gossip as payment.
Vicky is freaking out and kind of wants to say, but is hesitant. Like she clearly wants the weight off her chest, but she does finally say that she does know that Bill was murdered and she knows who did it. Maggie is kind of at first pissed because she thinks that she's implicating Maggie's father, Sam, in
And
it.
she's being a bitch about it.
Yeah.
She's like, all this bullshit didn't start till you came to town.
Yeah, she's like, You're you're the problem, bud." Just then, Carolyn catches David, who's been eavesdropping. She's being fighty with him, then says hi to Maggie and goes on her date with Burke. But before leaving,
Vicky asks Carolyn to have Burke call her, and Carolyn reacts about how you'd expect her to.
she does. She gets this little like bitchery bitch face and is just like, "Oh, you want me to tell Burke that you want him to call you?" Well, of course, like, I have no fucking intention of doing that. She's
It was funny,
she's great.
and Maggie just looks puzzled
Yeah.
at the whole thing.
Also, where's Joe? Who's banging Joe? No one's banging Joe, he's just out alone on a boat somewhere, finding himself. Good for
Well,
Joe.
we'll get back to Joe soon, but in the meantime, Maggie demands to know who it is that Vicky suspects of murder, and Maggie suggests also that she come back to her house to stay, unless, of course, it's Sam she's worried about, and she says that it's not Sam. Now, Roger is listening at the door now that David has been chased off, while Vicky explains about finding the murder pin at Murder Beach, and Roger creeps back into the kitchen. Later, as Maggie is leaving, Roger creeps up behind them and he hides to the side of the double doors and waits for Maggie to leave. And then he grabs Vicky and covers her mouth and tells her not to make a sound. End credits.
I was oddly hot. I think I'm broken. Anyway, episode 102, Victoria Winters ain't afraid of no ghost, but she is afraid of Roger.
Roger is being a creep, but she agrees not to scream by nodding her head if he takes his hand away from her mouth, and the score intensifies while Roger tells Vicky not to do anything silly as she has no chance of escaping him like a straight up villain.
Yeah,
Opening credits. Roger tells Vicky to be reasonable, that if he were going to kill her, he would have already done it. He
right.
just wants to talk, and he only, assaulted her because he didn't
Yeah.
want her to yell for Maggie to come back, but he does it in a gross, classist way that really tickled Rebecca.
Oh, yeah, he's just every time he just gets all about the help and the poor people and just his whole, like, foppish thing is darling, and he was like, "I just wanted Maggie to I didn't want Maggie to come back," or but instead of saying Maggie, he's like, the little counter girl,"
Mhm.
or whatever, like, it was pretty good. It tickled me.
Well, Roger has a confession to make, but he's really making a meal of it and teases it out for
He
way
does, it
too
goes on,
long. And Vicky agrees to listen to his explanation, and she sits down, and he starts to start and explains his actions on the evening of the murder. He tells her that back on murder night, when we kept looking at the clock 57 times, he was on the phone when Vicky went upstairs. Well, he was on the phone with Bill, asking him to meet at Murder Beach, but Roger insists he only wanted to talk to Bill and try and talk him out of being on Burke's side. He admits that he did leave right after seeing Vicky, so he left at 10:30 instead of 10:50 like he'd conned her into telling the
He's like,
police.
"Motherfucker, I knew it."
And
I mean, she didn't actually say that, but just she was like, "What? How dare you?"
Roger says he was only lying to protect Liz from any public scrutiny, and
Yes.
he admits that he did see Bill, but then teases some more and is like, "Well, that's thirsty work. I need another drink. You want a drink?" She's like, "No, fucking talk."
Yeah.
So he goes on to say that he did lose the pen when he saw Bill. We cut to someone approaching the old house with a flashlight,
It
and
is
it's David.
David.
He enters and creeps around, and the VHS transfer of the recording of the show that we're watching on the Internet Archive distorted in a spooky way at an
Yeah, no,
appropriate
I did
time.
notice that, yeah.
David lights a candle and he approaches the portrait of Josette and announces himself and asks her to come out to play.
He's come to summon his ancestors to find out who killed Bill and that he's got something to tell Bill.
He fills her in on the gossip about Vicky and Roger and Murder Beach and Murder Pin and all of that. Over at
And
the
she's like,
Blue
"Okay, cool."
No, she doesn't say nothing yet.
No, psychically to his mind, through his little spooky baby brain.
At the Blue Whale, Burke and Carolyn are having dinner, and she explains about David tattling to Roger about the date, and they flirt, but then she starts to kind of second guess things as he's laying it on a little too thick. The tape distorts again here, and then Burke admonishes Carolyn to finish her dinner like he's her dad, and I thought it was gross, which probably means Becca thought it was hot.
No, I didn't actually in that scenario. I do like being told what to do. I like a little bit of that.
Back at the old house, David is still trying to coax Josette to come and visit, but she isn't biting. He wants her to ask Ghost Bill what he knows about what Roger did. He can't ask Vicky for some reason or another, and he can't ask Roger because he's afraid Roger might kill him too. We see the creepy shadow of Matthew approaching the old house to catch David,
David
so
hides.
yeah, he blows out his candle and scurries behind some furniture. When Matthew says he saw the light and knows somebody is in there, David comes out and says, "Oh, I just came to visit my friends, the ghosts." And Matthew says again that he doesn't believe in ghosts. David also explains that Vicky knows who killed Bill. Now, Matthew is awfully concerned about that.
Asks if she's gone to the police, and David says not yet. David asks him to look after her, and Matthew agrees.
And David is also saying, "Oh, my dad killed Bill,"
Oh,
and
yeah,
we know
yeah.
that for a fact. And
I forgot that part.
he asks Matthew to help protect Vicky, and once Matthew confirms again that nobody else knows what Vicky knows, he
David is
agrees.
Yeah, and David is satisfied and he leaves, and Matthew seems weird and a little panicky, but he leaves too. And
And
then
Josette comes out
the
the painting.
ghost of Josette Collins, played by a foggily obscured Maggie, or the actress that plays Maggie, drifts down from the painting for a little.
Catherine Lee Scott is her name.
Yeah. She drifts down from the painting, for a little ghost fashion show.
Yeah, she just comes down and
Yeah,
spins around,
yeah,
and
she
that's all we
goes
see.
and shakes her little tush on the catwalk, just very elegantly comes down, makes a turn, and sashays away back toward the painting.
Well, we're going to see a lot more of her soon.
I liked it.
Back at the Blue Whale, Burke and Carolyn are continuing their date, and Carolyn gossips to Burke that Roger has a boner for Vicky now. And Burke is like, "What?"
Hey,
And he's
now.
too interested, and this annoys Carolyn. She lets on about murder pin, and Burke gets kinda loud about it, and then lies and insists that he has to step away to make a business call real quick, and obviously rushes off to call Vicky.
Yeah, he's freaked out and goes to call her.
In the drawing room, Roger explains that, yes, he saw Bill at Murder Beach, but he was already dead when he got there. And Vicky pretty reasonably is like, "Well, why the fuck didn't you say that in the first place? And we could have avoided all of this." And he answers that he didn't think he'd be believed on account of having motive and opportunity. And also, he's kind of sore that she thought he killed Bill, and he insists that he didn't. The phone rings, and it's Burke, of course, and she rushes to answer it. He tells her to pretend that it's Maggie. He warns her that the jig is up and she needs to sneak out of the house, and he'll get rid of Carolyn and send a car for her. So Vicky does all that and tells Roger she's going to bed, and he bids her a good night.
Black at the
Black at the Blue Whale.
Black blue whale. Back at the Blue Whale, Burke bails on the rest of their date and
He
says
lies
that,
to
yeah,
Carolyn and
says it was
says he
Blair.
has a meeting in a few minutes, and we expect her to pout, but oddly she takes it in stride and is pleased that he's paying her any attention at all, so she's like, "Oh, no
"Oh, sure,
worries."
yeah."
So she heads out. Back at Collinwood, Vicky creeps down the stairs in her coat. prepared to go out.
She did look all like she was doing some gumshoeing or something with her little trench coat,
Yeah.
sneaking down the stairs.
Roger is still in the drawing room, and they try to make it real tense as she's lingering in the foyer,
Yeah.
waiting for a chance to sneak out, and he keeps almost looking directly at her, but then not, and wanders over to get another drink. So while his back is turned, she scurries out the back way and
Yeah.
runs off into the night. End credits.
Yep.
Episode 103. Victoria Winters reminds us that Roger is creepy, but may or may not be a murderer. She's not real sure. Roger heads upstairs and knocks on Vicky's door, and when there is no reply, he creeps in and is shocked to find the room empty, and he just yells and yells and yells for her. He's just, Vicky, 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 all over the place.
"Vicky, where are you?" He's bellowing, he's going all just ramshacking around the house looking for her, and then he goes outside and for emphasis, hollers out into the night, "Vicky!" and
Opening
opening
credits.
credits.
At the Blue Whale, Burke is at a table alone having a drink as Vicky enters, and the peppy, jazzy, happy Blue Whale song is playing.
That one's fun.
Contrary to the tone, it should have been the melancholy one.
Yeah.
Vicky explains that Roger told her that he found Bill already dead, and she kind of believes him. Burke is mad that she kind of believes him.
He's like, "The fuck you do? Why?" Like, why would you believe anything he says? But
And he also wishes aloud that the pen could be located, and then he hatches a scheme. He has to go to Bangor that night and invites Vicky to join him, but she declines and he calls her a Girl Scout because she won't come bang him in Bangor. He encourages her to stay at the inn rather than go home, and they go back and forth about it, but she doesn't know how to explain not being there, so she wants to go back to the house, and he offers to drive her. So they exit.
Sam comes to the Blue Whale and sees a sad daughter Maggie at the table.
And now the sad song is playing.
Yes, sitting over, having a little coffee, waiting on him, and she says she has something to tell him. She fills him in about Vicky finding evidence that Bill was killed. She is worried that it may involve him and asks about the letter in the safe. And he gives the life insurance line again.
Also, Maggie lets on that while Vicky didn't say it outright, she has deduced that Roger is the one who probably killed Bill, and also she told Burke about all of this.
Right.
Sam reassures her that he isn't involved, and then they argue about the letter, like you said, and then they argue about his alcoholism.
Yep.
Maggie says that Bill's murder is related to the manslaughter, which Maggie knows he's involved in. We pop back over to Collinwood, where Roger is pacing as the clock chimes, and he goes into the foyer to call the hotel looking for Burke, but he's not there because he's gone to Bangor. Back at the Blue Whale, Maggie and Sam are still at it, having more of the same conversation. Sam begs Maggie to call Vicky to pump her for information, but she doesn't want to. Sam is insistent, so Maggie grudgingly goes to the phone, and Roger answers, and Maggie accidentally reveals that she hasn't spoken to Vicky all evening, right after Vicky had just pretended to be on the phone with Maggie when she was talking to Bert. So Roger knows something's up. Maggie returns to the table, but Sam isn't there. So back at Collinwood, Vicky creeps into the foyer again from the back hall, and she heads upstairs, but Roger's right behind her and
No,
hollers for
Vicky!
her.
In a weird voice, and he asks if she's okay. She says she couldn't sleep and that she's been out walking and that she went to Maggie's place. And Roger is cornering her about it, but
He
doesn't
doesn't
reveal
dispute
that
it,
he
doesn't
knows.
let
Yeah.
on that he knows she's lying, so Vicky excuses herself to bed, and they say goodnight for a second time, and
And then
This is what you were talking about, like
Roger, back with what we were saying about him earlier, in a full-on evil villain way, just, like, looking like fucking Mr. Burns in the hallway, gazing over his glass of brandy is like, "Pleasant dreams, Ms. Winters." It's just so good.
it was fun. In her room, Vicky brushes her hair once and then
Yeah, boop.
locks the door and turns out the lights and gets into bed.
I have never just, like, walked up to a hairbrush and ran it through my like, one strand of hair and then just I'm done.
Roger calls the blue whale asking for Sam, and they tell him he was there, but he's gone now. And he wants to know if anybody else was with Sam and Maggie, and they say no. Back in Vicky's room, we see the door handle be jostled from outside, and then someone fumbling with the knob, but then the door that we all saw her lock opens.
Yeah, someone's busting into her room, and she wakes up to hearing the lock and screams, "Who is it? Who's there?" And
And
whoever it is shuts the door and bolts.
but then, like, 4 seconds
Yeah,
later, Roger
immediately.
comes and is like, "Oh, I heard you scream. What's the matter?" And it seems like, "Oh, that was clearly Roger."
Yeah.
And she insists that she had locked the door, but someone unlocked it and was coming in, and Roger suggests that she was just tired and she thought she locked the door, meant to lock the door, but she really didn't. He reminds her he's just down the hall if anything else scares her, and a reminder that's like, "Oh, I'm here if you need protection, but also this is me threatening you."
Yeah.
He, at this moment, delivers the message from Maggie from earlier when he talked to her on the phone and suggests that they get their stories straight. The score intensifies as Roger says goodnight for a third time.
Yeah.
Vicky locks the door behind him before the end credits. Episode 104, Victoria Winters, reminds us that at Collinwood, there's some horrors in this house. Vicky descends the stairs and enters the drawing room to talk with Liz. She tells her the story about her locked door being opened in the night and that Roger thought she was dreaming, but she knows that she wasn't. Liz takes her seriously and says she'll have Matthew add a lock to her door and make sure she has the only key. They speculate about who might have been trying to break in before the opening credits. Sometime later, Liz is coming back down the stairs, reporting that to Vicky that she had questioned David and she's pretty sure it wasn't him. Matthew arrives after having been summoned by Liz, and he insists that the house was locked securely last night, so Vicky infers that it must have been someone already in the house. So Matthew says he'll add a lock to Vicky's door today, and Liz goes to make sure that the door to the closed-off wing is still locked in case somebody had snuck in or out through there. Once Liz steps out and Matthew's gone and Vicky has some privacy, she tries again to call Burke, but then remembers he's in Bangor. So she tries to call Maggie, but she's also not in. Sam says that he wants to talk to her, and he lies and says he has new information about B. Hanscom, the lady from the painting, and
Yeah.
invites her to meet at the Blue Whale tonight. The Blue Whale is seeing a lot of action these few episodes.
Yes. Hoppin' joint.
Liz returns and reports that the closed off wing was locked. Vicky heads upstairs to get to work, because we often forget that she is employed there.
And she's gonna go teach, David, yeah.
Liz calls the office looking for Roger, but he isn't there. She's mad and paces to a typically tense score.
Then Roger pulls up to the gate.
It's later, like it's dark
Yeah,
now when that had been in the morning.
right.
So
Which is why they showed us outside. They were like, "It's nighttime now, guys."
Roger enters and he takes off his coat and jacket and leaves them on the table in the foyer, which I have noticed them doing a lot in this big mansion. They don't have a closet or a coat rack. Is this a rich people thing that they just leave their things on a table in the foyer?
Well, I mean, for me, it's
Or
a filth pig thing,
is
but
or is it just a shoddy set design thing? Like, we didn't buy
yeah.
a coat rack or we can't build a closet.
Well, that's actually interesting because, like, typically, they would have had the help come take it, right? Probably. Like, if you had a butler, if you had a fully
I don't
staffed
know nothing
mansion.
about rich people.
Well, if you have people in your house to serve you, they're gonna be like, "Oh, let me take your coat," and then they go put it away. So maybe it's because they were all spoiled rich kids and they just throw it there, but Vicky puts her shit there too. So I think it's just poor set design like that,
I've just
but
wondered about that,
yeah,
noticing, like, isn't this house supposed to be fancy and y'all ain't got a coat rack and an elephant foot umbrella stand somewhere?
right.
Well, anyway, Roger's back, and Liz is mad that he took so long. She wants to talk about Vicky's phantom prowler, and
Phantom
Roger
Prowler.
starts to plant seeds that he repeats later to others that he thinks Vicky is crazy.
Yeah.
And he runs through all of the strange occurrences she has experienced
She's
and
just got a very vivid imagination.
implies she's either crazy or maybe she knows something she shouldn't know. Matthew comes in to say he's done adding that lock to Vicky's door. Roger tells Liz that now more than ever he thinks that Vicky should leave and he's gonna tell her that.
He
He's
wants to go kick her out now, and Liz says she's not here.
And he's too curious about her whereabouts, and this makes Liz suspicious, and
Yeah.
she looks puzzled as he leaves to chase after Vicky and is starting to think, "Oh, he tried to break into her room last
Yeah.
night." At the Blue Whale, Vicky enters to meet Sam, and he offers a drink, but she declines, and he insists, so she orders a ginger ale and tells Sam the Phantom Intruder story. Sam confesses that he lied about the B. Hanscom painting just to get her there, which is dumb because he probably could have just said, "I have something to talk to you about," and she would have
Yeah,
come
I mean,
because
slime is slimy, so she says, well, he asks about the proof that Bill was murdered,
he
and
wants to know what everything she
yeah,
told Maggie, but she doesn't want to talk about it with him.
and she's not certain about any of it. She is not convinced one way or the other, and though she doesn't wanna be stirring the pot. She
But
asks if Maggie has told anyone, and he says, "Well, no, unless you consider me as someone." And I want to assure you, dear listeners, and Matthew and Sam, we fucking don't.
I
She tries to get up and leave,
well,
and he
he
screams at her, and the more Sam is around, the more I have the urge to, and sometimes follow through with the urge to just say "dick" to the TV. Like it's involuntary at this point. I
He
hate
doesn't
him.
just scream at her, he badgers her and she tries to leave, and then he grabs her by the arm
Yeah.
and, like, pulls her back down to her
Yeah.
chair
No,
and
he's a
shouts at her.
terrible, violent, awful man, and I hate him.
After he forces her to, she sits back down
Yeah,
and
after his hysterics.
tells him he just ought to talk to Burke about it because she's not going to say anymore. And he makes sure to let us know, "Well, I drove here. I have Maggie's car.
Yeah.
I'm driving tonight. Would you like a ride home?"
And she's like, "No, I don't wanna go anywhere with you, you big, mean, terrible man." Although she does go, doesn't she? No,
No, she leaves. She
she leaves
she
on her
says
own.
she'd rather walk, and she leaves.
Yeah,
So,
oh, that's right. Cause
yes,
thanks,
after
duh.
Vicky leaves, Sam calls the inn looking for Burke, but he isn't there yet. And so Sam goes to the bar to get another drink, of course. There's a suspenseful music sting before he exits. We see Vicky walking along a dark road, and the frogs are croaking, and headlights approach in the distance but get closer awfully quick, and the car is moving erratically, and Vicky is blinded by the headlights, and the car tries to run her over.
Yeah.
She screams, and then we cut away to Collinwood, where a frantic pounding on the doors is answered by a concerned Liz. Vicky enters, hysterical and yelling that someone has tried to kill her. She explains the whole thing to Liz, who offers to call the sheriff, but Vicky doesn't think it would do any good since she didn't see anything but headlights, so who are they going to go looking for? Liz lets slip that, well, Roger had gone out looking for you. Vicky says, well, maybe he found me.
Yeah.
At this, Liz goes to get her some drugs.
Yeah, Liz comes in and is like, "Here, Vicky, have some Valium. I take fistfuls of the stuff. I'm fine. It's how I deal with all y'all's trauma." And Vicky is hesitant, and Liz is worried that she's afraid that she's trying to drug her, and
Well,
well,
what?
because of all the paranoia and fear, and Vicky goes ahead and takes the drugs and is sent to bed.
But before this, while Liz is still off getting the drugs,
Oh, I forgot,
Vicky
yeah.
calls the inn for Burke, and he's back now. So she tells him about the attempted running her over.
Yeah.
Also, he tells her that Roger isn't at home and that he has his car. So Burke says he's coming to collect her. Then Liz returns with the pill and forces her to take
Yeah,
drugs.
she's like, "Here, take this sedative."
So, Liz drugs her and ushers her upstairs to bed. End credits. Episode 105. Victoria Winters wants to make sure that we haven't forgotten that Collinwood is creepy and somebody did kill Bill. Burke enters Sheriff George's office, and George, who I am growing to like more and
I do
more as
like
time
George.
goes
He's a
on,
slow
even
burn.
even though fuck the police.
Yeah, ACAB.
But he's teasing Burke and clearly pretending to be happy to see him. And Burke is there to insist that George reopen the case of Bill's death. But George surprises him with the fact that the case was never closed. And Burke is impressed and tells George that Vicky knows something and they'd better go to Collinwood to talk to her. Also, somebody just tried to kill her. Opening credits. George obviously wants clarification about this, so Burke tells him about somebody trying to run Vicky over, but he makes it plain that he thinks it was Roger trying to run her over, and George already knew that because the only time Burke ever comes in there is to accuse Roger of something. Burke tells George also about someone trying to get into Vicky's bedroom last night, and they both deduce that it must have been Roger. Back at Collinwood, Liz is waiting in the foyer for Roger. He arrives and she questions him about where he's been in, say, the last half hour, and did he happen to run into Vicky, and she makes a pun of it. It is like, and I mean that quite literally. She tells him that somebody tried to run Vicky over, but she has since drugged her and put her to bed. Now, Liz is convinced that someone is after Vicky and wonders who it might be, clearly waiting for Roger to confess, but instead, Roger points the finger at Sam.
Back at the police station, Burke tells about the car that tried to run Vicky down. George asks what it is that she knows, and Burke says that he has a plan to bring forth some evidence.
George brings up that he thinks Roger would be too smart to try anything at Collinwood because if anything happened to Vicky, he would be the obvious suspect. So maybe it wasn't him trying to get in her room last night. And they go back and forth about it for a while, but Burke tells George he has a plan and he just needs him to play along for a little bit, and surprisingly, George agrees. Back at Collinwood, Liz asks Roger why he suspects Sam, like, what would he care about any of this? And then Roger is fishing for explanations
Yeah.
and suggests, well, maybe it's something about her mysterious past that is motivating someone to come after her.
Yeah.
Liz isn't buying any of this and suggests another possibility, or that there might be another possibility, and I assumed she was about to accuse Roger. But instead, she says maybe it was Ghost Bill that tried to break into her room.
Yeah.
Ghosts don't drive cars, Liz.
Okay, might.
But the sheriff pulls up and
Ghost lights, you.
she sees him through the window and asks Roger to go open the door, and they stand in the drawing room double doors looking like American Gothic, and the drum from a few episodes ago that is an odd cue starts pounding. So Roger does go to answer the door and pretends to be happy to see George until Burke steps into view and then he hisses. They being Liz and Roger, both pissed that Burke is there. George insists they need to come in, though, so Roger pointedly offers just George a drink.
Yeah.
Burke demands to see Vicky, but Liz explains, "Oh no, I doped her up good. She won't be conscious for a minute."
Yeah.
Roger suggests that Vicky has dreamed all of this up and tattles on Vicky to George about how, she sees ghosts now, and that bitch is clearly crazy. Burke brings up Murder Pen and explains the whole Pen story we've heard 50 times now, but now George also hears it. Roger says, well, yeah, I did have the pen and I lost it, but that doesn't mean anything, and who knows where it could have gone after I lost it. Burke accuses Roger of killing Bill. He asks Roger if he told Vicky that he found Bill already dead. Roger says Vicky is delusional and he never said any such thing. That's the first he's hearing of this theory. So Roger asks to see the pen to make sure it's even the same one. Could be totally different pens. He goes on to try and make Vicky sound crazy some more, but Burke, having just been to Bangor, produces the pen, which we know is the duplicate that he would have gone to Bangor to get from Blair. But Roger doesn't know this and is visibly freaking out when he sees the pen.
Yeah.
But then, just like Vicky did when she saw it with Blair, looks at it and says, "Oh, on second thought, no, that's not the same pen. They're not alike at all." And so Burke and George plan to talk to Carolyn and Vicky about all of this the next day, and they leave, and Burke wishes Roger pleasant dreams. Liz glares at Roger, clearly thinking that he killed Bill now,
Yeah.
and she asks if he'd like to explain, and he says he would not. So they both look dramatically out the window together. We've never had a tag team before. Liz says she's going to talk to Vicky and Carolyn in the morning, so she's gonna find out everything, even if he doesn't give up details.
Yeah, Liz wants the truth and she wants it now, god damn it. And they note that the cops are gone and he kind of just dismisses her and goes to dig up the pen. As he is digging up the pen, uh, at first I was thinking like, "Oh, yeah, like someone else has taken the pen," but no, he does find it. And then when he stands up, Burke and George are standing right behind him, and Burke's all like, "Booyah."
Yeah,
It's pretty good.
before leaving, Roger had continued to insist to Liz that Vicky has gone crazy, and also he suddenly has something important to do, and that important thing is digging up the pen. And he creeps out into the night, out to where he'd buried it, just to make sure it's still there, and he's relieved when he finds it, of course, until George and Burke emerge from the shadows and confront him caught red-handed with the pen, and Burke gloats and Roger makes a panicked face. End credits.
It was pretty good. Booyah.
What'd you think about these ones?
I liked him. I like Vicky screaming and hollering and fighting and all the things, and I do feel kind of bad for her. Again, like, no childhood mystery is worth all of that bullshit. I would be going to nanny in a different part of the country. I don't like it when Burke is, like, slimy at Caroline. Carolyn, god damn it. I thought I'd
I
done it.
don't like it either, but uh also I'm inclined to victim blame and be like,
Sure.
yes, it sucks, but she also sucks
Right.
and is she's asking for it.
Yep. Well, we're raised up that way. That's how you gotta be. Oh, it's about to be my birthday, so if you guys want to give me a birthday present, you could follow us on Instagram or
At Ghosts One
at
You Did.
Ghost When You Dead.
Harkening back to your birthday and
Yes.
your surprise story time for your birthday
Yeah, that was
earlier.
wild.
Speaking of changes in format, a bit of light housekeeping. Occasionally, Dark Shadows did not air at the appointed time due to like holidays or preemption. In these instances, episode numbers were either skipped or altered to maintain the scheme that the episodes that aired on the Friday of the week would end in the number 5. Next week, we encounter this for the first time and our numbering goes all wonky. So, traditionally, our episodes have gone 1 through 5 and 6 through 10 in numbering scheme, and we will make adjustments later on to get back to that, but for now, just go with the flow, man.
That's
Next
all you
week
can do.
Next week, we will be covering episodes 106 through 112, but it's still only 5 of them because there is no episode 109 or
That's
110.
odd.
I'm sure everyone is fascinated by that, but I
Yeah.
happen to just be filling in the Google Calendar,
No,
and
that is fun.
we go from our nice even numbers to episode after next will be episodes 113 through 117, then 118 through 122, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
But I have a plan to get us back to it later in the spring.
I'm glad that you have a way back to the right numbers.
Also, I have run out of things to say. Have you run out of things to say?
I feel like I'm always out of things to say.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.